skills on farms. Are we lacking there a bit?
Yeah, look, it's something I'm hearing a lot when I'm out and about in the community, people saying to me it's getting hard to find people who want to come out and live in the country areas and take on some of the jobs, which I find incredible. You know, it's such an amazing set of communities to live in, and the country life is so rewarding and supportive. But I hear it a lot from employers, and so it's something we are focused greatly on. You know, 1 in 6 jobs in New Zealand is in the primary sector, and it's 10% of our GDP, and actually we can see it growing by another 50,000 jobs over the next 10 to 15 years. So it's a boom area. It's an area I think we need to be discussing with our young people in schools, and we're certainly running all sorts of programs in schools and in university to get them to think about careers on farm and careers in the rural community. But it's also not just on farm, of course. It's rural doctors, rural vets, rural midwives, and the program we've been running to get people doing voluntary bonding. So we say, look, you commit to going and working in rural New Zealand and in hard to staff areas, and we'll help write off your student loan. That's been incredibly successful. We've paid off about...
Write off your student
Well,
loan?
in parts. We help them reduce it. So over the last 5 years we've been running it, we've put $23 million into that, and the program's been so successful we're now having to restrict the numbers applying. So it's been great, and what we find is you get these young doctors and nurses and vets into rural New Zealand. They spend a few years there, they find a local lass or a local bloke and fall in love and get married, and then they want to stay there and make their lives there. So I think there's a lot they get out of it. It's as much as anything, I think, just making people aware of the opportunities in rural New Zealand, because actually, as we know, it's an incredibly strong part of our economy, and it needs the people to make it sing. So, there's a lot of good work going on, but it's important that New Zealanders think about the opportunities out in the regions and on farms and in rural New Zealand, because they're considerable.
You're relying on people like Lincoln University and schools.
Yeah, well, look, I think all the way through from primary school, and there's some neat stuff that we're sort of seeing in the primary schools and the high schools to get people excited and thinking about rural careers, but also, as you say, right through the universities. And I know, Lincoln University's been in the news a bit recently with having a few struggles, but it's such an incredibly important part of New Zealand, I think, training the next generation of agricultural scientists and planners and water managers and hydrologists. That is one of the strengths of New Zealand. We're known for our skills in agriculture and horticulture and viticulture, and we have to continue to be really training that next crop of people for the future. So right across the board, from the highly qualified rural specialists to the farm workers, to the tractor salesmen and mechanics, as I say, right through to the supporting rural teachers, rural midwives, rural doctors. There's a lot to offer out there, but we just have to work on joining those dots.
Internet security, that's a big one, especially for rural people, perhaps.
Yeah, look, I think it is. So last few times I've been in your show, Rob, I've talked a lot about the Rural Broadband Initiative and getting more connectivity out to more Kiwis, and it's incredibly exciting to see them taking those opportunities, seeing how they can grow businesses from home and connect their operations with internet monitoring and Internet of Things, and the opportunities are amazing. But it's a bit like any new technology. There are always risks we have to think about and adapt to. So for me, it's like cars. When we first got into cars, we didn't kind of turn away from them because of the risks. We just learnt to wear our seatbelts, and putting our seatbelt on, making sure we had our brakes right and our tyre pressure right, just became standard. The internet's a bit the same. So the opportunities are vast, but there are some simple things we do have to do, because the reality is there is a vast network of people all around the world who are looking to hack into computer systems, to steal information, to access your identity. Actually, the global cyber crime industry is now bigger than the global drugs trade. That's how significant it is. So people are starting to really understand that every single enterprise, every connection, every business, at some stage is likely to be someone's going to try and have a go at it. Now, I don't think people need to freak out. There are some really simple things that will protect you against the vast majority of the threats. First one is just have a password. Have your devices locked, have a password that's reasonably secure your Wi-Fi, make sure you don't click on links in emails, install the updates on your software that comes through. They're pretty simple things. They don't take a lot of time, but perhaps it's too easy to get into the habit of not doing it. Oh, I can't be bothered unlocking my phone, I can't be bothered locking my Wi-Fi. It's worth doing.
I think a lot of people would say, I'm an individual. The hackers are going to go into IRD or some government department. But, you can lose money, can't you?
Absolutely. Look, they go everywhere. The Australian government just came out yesterday saying that, the number of times they've been hacked and information stolen. I know, banks, health records, but right down to individuals. Not only, as you say, can they access financial information and steal money, there's a thriving trade into stealing online identities. So it's, as I say, it's not something that we should
do that?
Well, they can use your identity then to access all sorts of other benefits and arrangements, and use that as entry into other areas. So there's quite a complex and sophisticated industry behind all of this. And as I say, I don't want people to be scared and therefore not go online and experience all the benefits that come with it. But there are just a few simple things, and I think that kind of Kiwi, she'll be right, oh, no one's looking at me, is just probably one of those bubbles we need to burst. Look, there are people who are interested in getting into information of all sorts, and it only takes a few simple things to keep yourself safe. And there's one other point that's probably worth mentioning, which is just around young people online. So, most of us know our kids are far more into the online world than we are, and far more at home on it. But the truth is that there are threats that exist for young people online that none of us were probably used to when we were young, and cybersecurity, cyberbullying, it's a real thing, and we do have to think about what our kids are exposed to online, how to keep them safe. There's a great organisation called NetSafe who are working with New Zealanders with the Harmful Digital Communications Act to make sure that there's a path and a place for people to go if they are suffering online harm. So again, the message, I guess, is don't be put off the internet, don't be scared of it, but just make yourself aware of the new world and some of the things to look out for.